How do I remember all 12 of these strategies? They're random, they're different, they don't really fit. So I come up with one sentence. Car of GMAC, so I have an association because they have a car that runs on these races. So car of GMAC, Vrooms. And if I have that, so I have OF, GMAC, VROUMS. Now I still have to remember what they all stand for, but now I have something to work with. Okay, so what does the O of stand for? Organizing. What does the F stand for? Funnel. Okay, what does GMAC stand for? Grouping. Mental glue. Active learning and clustering. Switching to this side for those of you still paying attention. Okay, Vrooms. Visual memory. Read it with me, everybody. Recite it out loud. With enthusiasm. Overlearning. There we go. Understanding. Mnemonic devices and songs. Oftentimes you do a lot of talking, a lot of auditory. So the students who process best with their ears, they're in good shape. But the ones who need to see it, and the ones who need to see it in picture form, and the ones who need to move in order to properly internalize it, and the ones who need to discuss it, and the ones who need to think about it by themselves. By the way, just as a brief aside, you may be familiar with the term introvert and extrovert. Does that at all sound familiar to you? Introverts and extroverts? Okay, there's a big misconception about those two terms. Many people think that the extrovert is just the outward, the outgoing guy, right? The guy who goes into a simcha and just talks and schmoozes with everybody, has a great conversation, and the introvert is hiding in the corner, Mr. Shy, doesn't like to speak. Do you have any introverts in your classroom? Do you have any kids in your room that tend to be quieter, may only have a handful of friends, don't necessarily like to be super public in a lot of what they do? Okay, they say that about 40% of our population are introverts, or maybe partially introverts. There's something called introvert, there's extrovert, there's ambivert, which is that group in the middle. We're all in a continuum somewhere. So when we put our Talmidim together in groups, we're really tapping into the extrovert, because the extrovert, this is the idea. It's not that they're outgoing or not outgoing, it's where they draw their energy from. An extrovert goes into a simcha, goes into a room like this, and is excited and getting all charged up. Your batteries are getting charged by being around hundreds of peers around this room that are just inspiring all of you. And then you have someone like me who's an introvert. It doesn't mean you can't give a workshop. It doesn't even mean you can't be funny from time to time, right? But it means that when I'm done, I'm drained. And is there a Rebbe here in the room that feels similarly? When your day is done, you're not just because you put in energy, you put in effort. That's one thing, but you're drained. Do you ever have that? Okay, you might be an introvert. And the introverts do best when they have a chance to think about a question by themselves for a period of time. So we didn't really do it before, but I'm going to go back there for just a second so you see it here. The title. Take a look at this title for just a second. Think, pair, share. This is one of the most powerful and easy techniques you could use. Think about a question. Whatever question you want the Talmidim to think about. Think about it by yourself. Pair means you turn to the person next to you and you discuss what you came up with. Share means you share it with the class at large. So think by yourself, pair with the person next to you, share it with the group at large, or share with the class. So any question you might ask about Moshe Rabbeinu, about what do you think the Svar of the Tanna Kamma is, whatever. Think about it by yourself, 60 seconds. By the way, this is always the hardest part, because the extroverts want to start pairing right away. So you got to keep everybody quiet. You're helping your introverted students tremendously by giving them a chance to think on their own. Take the question inside, internalize the issue, and then discuss it. You're going to get a much better answer. As you will, anytime you ask a question, does anyone happen to know, I'm sort of peppering you with just ideas, but this is a good one also. Does anyone know what research says how many seconds you need to wait between the end of a question you ask in your shiur and before you start taking your answers? How many seconds? Please show me with your fingers. How many seconds should you wait between the end of your question before you accept any Talmidim's responses? Okay, the correct answer is within the range of what I saw. It's not quite 10, but it's 7 seconds, which will feel like an eternity for many of us. 7 seconds feels like, oh my goodness, that's a long time to have silence in the room. But what you're doing when you have 7 seconds is you're giving Talmidim who have a harder time with retrieval, right? What you're asking them to do is retrieve information. Go into their brain, draw it out.